Today, we are really getting into it, cracking the code on what makes big projects tick, or sometimes not tick.
Right. We're diving deep into the project management body of knowledge.
Yeah.
PMBOK.
Exactly, the PMBOK. We'll look at its core structure and, crucially, how it gets tailored for, well, the rough and tumble world of construction management.
Yeah, and it's so important because, look, PMBOK sounds dry, doesn't it? Like some dusty manual.
A bit, yeah.
But it's really not. It's the living, breathing body of knowledge for the whole profession. Think of it like the DNA for getting projects done right.
The DNA, I like that, capturing best practices from all over the globe.
Exactly. It elevates project management, makes it a real profession. Like law or medicine, it has its established knowledge base, and it keeps evolving.
So our mission today really is to unpack that, show you how PMBOK gives you that system to handle the, let's face it, chaos of complex projects.
It's that framework for managing complexity.
Yeah.
And it does evolve, which is key.
Okay, so where we start, what's the roadmap through this PMBOK guide?
Well, thankfully, the guide itself is pretty logical. It breaks down into 3 main sections. Makes it easier to grasp.
All right, 3 sections. Lay them out for us.
Okay, first up, the project management framework. This is kind of the big picture.
The basics.
Yeah, the fundamentals, how projects work, the life cycle, stakeholders, the organizational environment. It's the stage setting, the context.
Got it. Context first. What's number 2?
Second is the standard for project management of project. This is more about the how-to, the operational rhythm.
Okay.
It lays out the universal processes you absolutely have to apply. And this is where those 5 required process groups come in. We'll definitely dig into those.
The 5 process groups.
Right.
And the third section?
That's the project management knowledge areas. These are the specific skills, the competencies you need.
So the tools and techniques.
Exactly. The 9 core areas of expertise every project manager needs to develop. Understanding this whole 3-part structure, well, that's step 1.
Okay, let's unpack this. But first, something you highlighted that feels really important. Just knowing the tools, like what a WBS is, isn't enough, right?
Oh, absolutely not. That's
No.
a classic mistake. You can know all the terms. But being an effective PM, that takes a much broader skill set.
Because projects are messy, complex things.
They really are. You're dealing with people, politics, constraints. So effective management pulls from at least 5 wider areas of expertise. You can't just live inside the PMBOK guide.
And if you're weak in one of these areas.
The whole thing can fall apart, even with a technically perfect plan.
Okay, so we know Area 1 is the PMBOK itself.
Yeah.
The framework, processes, knowledge areas we just mentioned. What's the second big pillar?
That would be application area knowledge, standards, and regulations. Sounds a bit formal, but it's just about knowing the specific world your project lives in.
Context matters.
Hugely. Like if you're managing a pharmaceutical project, you need to know drug trial regulations, building a bridge, seismic codes, environmental standards, that sort of thing. It's sector specific.
So if, say, I'm running a construction project, maybe a high-rise in a big city, I need the PM skills, sure, but also...
You need to know local zoning laws, maybe specific union agreements, definitely the city's safety regs for that kind of work. That's all application knowledge.
Right. And this knowledge comes in 2 main forms, you said, standards and regulations.
Yeah, basically. You've got industry standards, which are usually consensus-based. Think best practices, often voluntary, but smart to follow.
And regulations?
Regulations are the law, mandatory. Government rules about process or product characteristics. You have to follow those. Standards you adopt, regulations you obey.
Okay, that makes sense. Which brings us to the third area, understanding the project environment. This sounds a bit broader.
It is broader, but it's very real. Projects don't happen in a vacuum, right? They land in communities, ecosystems, economy.
Absolutely.
So the team has to look beyond the fence line. What's the cultural context? Social,
Yeah.
economic, political, even the physical environment. Every project has ripple effects, intended or not, good and bad.
And the minute you factor in, say, local politics or community pushback against a new site, suddenly it's not just technical anymore.
Exactly. It becomes stakeholder management, community engagement, risk mitigation. If your project means tons of truck traffic through a quiet neighborhood, and you ignore that social environment, you're asking for trouble. Protests, delays, costs, it's real.
Managing the environment is managing risk. Got it. Okay, pillar number 4.
General management knowledge and skills. This is recognizing the PM isn't just a scheduler. They're kind of like a temporary CEO for this specific thing.
A mini CEO. Makes sense.
Yeah. So they need those fundamental business skills. Planning, organizing, staffing, executing, controlling operations. because the project exists within a larger organization.
And that means knowing about things like logistics, IT, finance.
Definitely.
Oh.
Especially finance and accounting, logistics, supply chain, strategic planning, even organizational structures. The PM needs to speak the language of the business that's funding them.
Right. If you can't read a basic financial statement or understand why finance needs certain paperwork,
You're stuck. You can't get resources effectively, can't report project health upwards, you become isolated. The project is temporary, but the company isn't. The PM has to bridge that.
which leads perfectly into the fifth area. And this one I think sometimes gets underestimated, especially by more technical folks, interpersonal skills.
Oh, hugely underestimated.
Yeah.
The soft skills. But they deliver hard results. Technical skill gets you the plan. People skills get the plan done.
So what are the key ones here? You mentioned 6.
Yeah, 6 crucial ones. First, just effective communication. And that's not just talking. It's making sure information is timely, appropriate, and actually understood.
Which is tough when you're explaining complex construction details to, say, a non-technical client.
You have to tailor the message. Second, influencing the organization, the political skill,
Yeah.
getting things done.
Navigating the internal landscape.
Right, getting shared resources, winning priority battles. You might have formal authority from the charter, but influence is how you make it work day to day, often persuading people who don't even report to you.
Makes sense.
Third, leadership. This is different from just managing. Management maintains the system. Leadership builds the vision, inspires the team, helps people push past obstacles.
And that links to the fourth, motivation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Energizing the team, especially under pressure or when things go wrong, that takes real emotional intelligence. Understanding what makes people tick.
Fifth one.
Negotiation and conflict management. Projects are stressful, limited resources, high stakes, conflict will happen.
Guaranteed.
So the PM has to be able to find common ground, reach agreements, whether it's a change order with the supplier or an internal squabble over who gets the crane next week.
And if they don't step in?
Morale tanks, productivity drops. It hits the bottom line.
Okay, and the last one.
Problem solving. Not just fixing things, but defining the problem clearly first, looking at options, analyzing them, and then crucially making a decision.
Timely decisions.
Yes. Sometimes a decent decision now is better than a perfect decision too late. So yeah, those 5 pillars, PMBOK, knowledge, application context, environment, general management, and interpersonal skills, that's the foundation.
Great foundation. So now we have the expertise defined. Let's move into that core engine room you mentioned. The 5 process groups, the rhythm of the work itself.
Right, the 5 process groups. Initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. These are universal. Doesn't matter the project size or type.
And they're not strictly sequential steps, are they? More like overlapping phases.
Exactly, they overlap. Planning might continue while execution starts, monitoring happens throughout, but they define the essential stages.
Okay, let's start with the first beat. 1, initiating process group. What's the core idea here?
Initiation is all about getting the official go-ahead, defining and authorizing the project, or maybe just the next big phase. If you skip this, you're basically running a rogue project.
Not a good look.
Definitely not.
Are you sure?
And 2 key things come out of this. First, the project charter.
The charter. How important is this, really?
It's arguably the most important single document. It officially says, this project exists. It outlines the initial requirements, what the stakeholders need. It's like the contract between the project idea and the organization doing the work.
And it gives the PM authority.
Crucially, yes.
Yeah.
It grants the PM the right to use company resources people, money for the project. It's their license to operate.
Okay, the license. What's the second key output?
The preliminary project scope statement. This is the high-level version of what the project will deliver, just the basics.
Why do this so early?
Because getting everyone's sponsor, key stakeholders to agree on this high-level scope up front is your best weapon against scope creep later. When someone asks for a new feature mid-project, you can point back to this initial agreement.
Is this really in scope conversation?
Precisely. Having that early alignment is gold, which then flows right into the next very detailed phase. 2, planning process group.
Okay, planning. This sounds like where the heavy lifting happens.
It is. Planning is all about taking those high-level objectives and figuring out exactly how you'll achieve them, defining the roadmap. This is where the main project management plan gets created.
The master blueprint.
Exactly. The integrated plan for execution, monitoring, control, everything. And yeah, the outputs here are numerous. Work breakdown structure, activity lists, resource needs, cost estimates, risk plans. It's all mapped out.
Doing the what into the how.
Perfect summary. And you know that saying, an hour of planning saves 5 hours of fixing? It's true. Good planning forces you to think ahead, anticipate problems.
Like the work breakdown structure, the WBS?
The WBS is fundamental here. It breaks the total scope down into smaller, more manageable chunks or work packages. It forms the basis for almost all other planning, scheduling, costs, risks. They all tie back to the WBS structure.
So if your WBS is shaky,
The rest of your plan is built on sand. Simple as that. The overall project management plan has to pull together all those subsidiary plans, communication plan, risk plan, quality plan, into one coherent whole.
okay, coherent plan assembled. Now we actually do the work. 3, executing process group.
Right. Execution is where you put the plan into action. Integrating the people, the resources, to actually carry out the work defined in the plan and meet the project requirements.
This is where the PM acts like that conductor you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Making sure the orchestra plays together, following the score of the plan, getting those work packages completed.
And this phase really leans on those interpersonal skills we talked about.
Heavily. Directing the work, motivating the team, managing information flow, distributing updates. It's constant human interaction and leadership.
If communication breaks down here,
The whole thing can stall. You need that constant, proactive communication to sort out issues, resource conflicts before they derail the schedule.
okay. And running alongside execution, you have the watchdog. 4, monitoring and controlling process group.
The ever-present watchdog. Yes. Its job is simple but vital. Track progress, measure performance against the plan, spot any deviations, variances, and then take corrective action to get things back on track.
It's the project's immune system.
Huh, I like that. Yeah, it is. It stops small problems from becoming major diseases. This is where tools like Earned Value Management, EVM, really shine.
EVM, that helps you see if you're actually getting the value for the money and time spent.
Precisely. It compares the work actually done, earned value,
That's-
against what you plan to do, planned value, and what you've actually spent, actual cost.
And gives you those performance indices.
Right. The SPI Schedule Performance Index and CPI Cost Performance Index. If your CPI is, say, 0.9, you're getting 90 cents of work done for every dollar spent. That's a clear warning signal.
It lets you predict future performance too, right? Not just look back.
That's the beauty of it. It helps forecast the final cost and completion date, allowing for proactive decisions, not just reacting when it's too late.
And this group also handles changes.
Yes, through integrated change control, a formal process. All change requests from the client, the team, regulators, whoever, have to be reviewed, analyzed for impact, and then formally approved or rejected. No backdoor changes allowed if you want control.
Makes sense. Finally, the end game. 5, closing process group.
The finish line. Closing is about formally wrapping things up, getting final acceptance of the project's output, the product, the service, whatever it was.
And tying up loose ends?
All of them. Administrative closure, final reports, archiving documents, contract closure, settling all payments and obligations with suppliers, financial closure, making sure everything is properly finished.
You mentioned documenting lessons learned. Why is that so critical in closing?
Because it creates organizational memory, institutional knowledge. If you don't capture what went right, what went wrong, and why, the next team is doomed to repeat the same mistakes.
Learning from experience.
Exactly. It feeds continuous improvement, helps refine processes for future projects. Plus, honestly, it gives the team that sense of closure after working so hard. It's important psychologically, too.
Okay, that covers the 5 process groups, the skeleton, as you called it. Now let's add the muscle and nerves, the 9 knowledge areas.
Right, the 9 knowledge areas, or KAs. These are the specific domains of expertise needed. Historically, they were grouped into core, facilitating, and integrating areas.
Let's start with the big one, the integrator. 1, project integration management. You called this the glue. What's it sticking together?
It holds everything else together. It's about coordinating all the different project elements, scope, time, cost, quality, risk, etc., making sure they work in harmony. This is really the PM's primary function.
Because a decision in one area always affects others.
Always. Change the schedule. That impacts cost. Cut costs. That might impact quality or risk. Integration management is about making those trade-offs consciously, strategically, not just letting them happen.
And key processes here reflect that, like developing the overall project management plan and managing that integrated change control we just discussed.
Exactly. Managing change effectively is maybe the ultimate test. When a big change request comes in, integration ensures you analyze the full impact, cost, schedule, risk, resources before saying yes or no.
Okay, glue in place. Now for the first core area. 2, project scope management, defining the boundaries.
Scope is all about making sure the project includes all the work needed And just as importantly, only the work needed. What's in, what's out. Clear boundaries are essential.
Defining success, really.
In large part, yes. And the key tool for this, the work breakdown structure, WBS.
The WBS, again, it keeps coming up.
Because it's foundational. It's that hierarchical breakdown of the deliverables. Takes the total scope, breaks it into major components, then subcomponents, down to individual work packages. You can actually manage cost and schedule.
Like a pyramid of tasks.
The deliverable-focused pyramid, yeah.
Yeah.
It stops you getting overwhelmed by the sheer scale and makes sure nothing gets forgotten. If it's not in the WBS, technically it's not in the scope. It feeds everything that follows.
Got it. Next core area. 3, project time management. All about the schedule.
Yep, getting the project done on time. This involves a sequence of processes. First, define the specific activities needed. Then sequence them, figure out what depends on what.
Dependencies are key in construction.
Absolutely. Then you estimate resources needed for each activity and estimate durations. Finally, you pull all that together, sequences, durations, resources, constraints, into the schedule development process.
And that often reveals the critical path.
Usually, yes. The critical path is that sequence of activities with any delay on that path delays the whole project. And the last process is schedule control, managing changes to the schedule, maybe finding ways to speed things up if needed.
Time and money, they always go together. So, 4, project cost management.
Right. This is about planning, estimating, budgeting, and controlling costs to keep the project within the approved budget, establishing that financial baseline.
So processes like cost estimating, figuring out what things will cost, then cost budgeting.
Cost budgeting aggregates those estimates. It sets the overall cost baseline you'll measure against, and then comes cost control.
Keeping costs in line.
Yes. Influencing the factors that cause costs to change and managing the actual changes. And again, that cost performance index, the CPI, is vital here. If it's consistently below 1.0, you're effectively bleeding money. Hard decisions needed.
Okay. Next core. 5, project quality management. Building it right.
Exactly. Defining the quality policies, objectives, standards needed to ensure the project actually satisfies the needs it was meant to meet. The core idea. Poor quality is incredibly expensive. Rework is the absolute enemy.
Do it right the first time.
That's the goal. Key processes are quality planning, what standards apply, quality assurance, are we following the process correctly to build quality in, and quality control. Did we build the product correctly? Let's measure it.
Assurance focuses on process. Control focuses on product.
You got it. They work hand in hand.
All right, moving to the facilitating areas. 6, project human resource management. People power.
Absolutely. Projects are done by people. This area is about organizing, managing, and leading that project team. Starts with HR planning and who do we need, what roles. Their reporting structure, staffing plan.
Then actually getting them, acquire team, helping them grow, develop team, improving skills, teamwork, and overseeing their work, manage team.
Right. Tracking performance, giving feedback, resolving conflicts within the team, and remembering project teams are often temporary, pulled from different departments. Building cohesion quickly is critical. It's not soft. It's essential.
Okay. Next facilitator. 7, project communications management. The project's oxygen.
Good analogy. It really is. Communication links everything, people, ideas, information. It's about getting the right information to the right people at the right time in the right format and making sure it's understood.
Not just blasting emails into the void.
Definitely not. It starts with communications planning.
Yeah.
Who needs to know what, when, how, often captured in the communication matrix.
A matrix. Tell me more.
It's just a simple table, usually, with stakeholders, what info they need, example, progress report, risk update, how often, weekly, monthly, and the method, email, meeting, dashboard. It cuts down confusion, prevents information overload and underload.
Smart. Then you have information distribution, performance reporting, and manage stakeholders, keeping them informed and addressing their concerns.
Exactly. Proactive stakeholder management is key.
Almost there. Number 8. 8, project risk management. Facing uncertainty.
Yeah, but proactively. It's about foresight, not fear. Planning how to handle risk, identifying opportunities as well as threats.
It's systematic, you said.
Very. Starts with risk management planning, our approach. Then risk identification, what could go wrong or right. Then qualitative analysis, ranking risks by probability and impact, high, medium, low.
And quantitative analysis, that sounds more complex.
It can be. It tries to put numbers on the risk. For big projects, you might use techniques like Monte Carlo simulation.
Monte Carlo, like the casino.
Sort of. It uses random sampling based on probability distributions. You feed in uncertainties like activity durations might vary and run the model thousands of times.
What does that give you?
Not one answer, but a probability range. Like there's an 80% chance we finish between date X and date Y, and a 90% chance the cost is between amount A and amount B. It helps set realistic contingencies for budget and schedule, much better than just guessing.
Data-driven contingency. Okay. And the final, KA, 9, project procurement management, dealing with the outside world.
Right, buying goods, services, results from outside the project team. Vendors, contractors, suppliers. Includes managing the contracts.
So planning what to buy, plan purchases, acquisitions, how to contract for it, plan contracting, finding sellers, request select sellers, managing the contract while it's active, contract administration, and closing it out properly, contract closure.
That's the flow. And a key insight, especially for construction. Fuzzy contract language. That's practically an invitation for disputes and claims later. Clarity up front saves massive headaches and money.
So those are the core 9, universal foundation. But construction's different, isn't it? It needs more.
It absolutely does. The scale, the risk, the regulations, it demands extra specialization. Yeah, construction projects are unique beasts. Fixed location, super capital intensive, highly regulated, inherently risky environments. So the standard PMBOK needs backup. We add 4 specialized knowledge areas for construction, total of 13.
And these aren't optional nice-to-haves.
No way. These are survival skills on a construction site. Claim management, safety management, financial management, and environmental management.
Okay, let's break them down. First, 1, claim management. Sounds adversarial.
It often is, unfortunately. A claim arises from disagreement. It's a formal demand for more money or more time because one party believes the contract entitles them to it, and the other party disagrees.
So it's different from a change order.
Totally different. A change order means everyone agrees on the change and its impact. A claim means there's a dispute about what's fair or required under the contract.
Got it. Disagreement is key. So how do you manage claims?
Well, first is claim identification. You need to know that contract inside out. Spotting when work being done or conditions encountered might be outside the agreed scope, and documenting everything meticulously.
Documentation is crucial.
Always. Then comes the hard part, claim quantification.
Putting a price tag on it.
And a time tag. Measuring the exact impact. This needs serious skills. Quantity surveying, cost estimating, schedule analysis to prove delay, even understanding contract law. You have to prove the impact, disruption, lost productivity, extra overhead.
Sounds intense. Is there a way to avoid claims?
That's the best strategy. Claim prevention, clear scope, fair risk allocation in the contract, good communication, administering the contract properly. Most claims come from ambiguous documents, unforeseen site conditions, or just poor contract management.
But if prevention fails?
Then you move to claim resolution. There's a typical ladder. Start with non-binding methods. Try negotiation first, just talking it out. If that fails, maybe mediation with a neutral third party helping facilitate.
And if that doesn't work?
Then you escalate to judgmental methods. Arbitration, where an arbitrator or panel makes a binding decision, usually faster and cheaper than court. And the last resort always is litigation. Going to court, expensive, slow, destroys relationships. Avoid if possible.
Okay, claims handled. Next, specialization. 2, safety management, a huge one in construction.
Absolutely paramount. Construction sites are inherently dangerous. Safety management is about preventing accidents, protecting people, protecting property. It's a moral imperative, but also financial accidents cost a fortune in delays, insurance, fines, lawsuits.
Where does it start?
With safety planning, creating a site-specific safety plan. You analyze the hazards, consider government regulations like OSHA, owner requirements in the contract, specific site conditions, geography, weather, etc. It can't be generic.
A tailored plan, then you execute it.
Right. Safety plan execution. This is the day-to-day implementation. Safety briefings, training, checking PPE, personal protective equipment, enforcing safe work practices, often needs a dedicated site safety officer on larger jobs. And accountability is key, top to bottom.
And paperwork.
Oh, yes. Safety administration and reporting. You have to keep records, inspections, training logs, incident reports, required by law, by insurance, by the contract, and it's essential for tracking performance and improving safety over time.
Makes sense. 3rd specialization. 3, financial management. You made a point earlier this is different from cost management.
Very different and critical to understand. Cost management, KA4, tracks project expenses against the budget, labor, materials, etc. Financial management is about the project's overall cash flow health.
The bigger money picture.
Exactly. Where's the money coming from? When does it arrive? managing revenue sources, securing financing, handling bonds, insurance, bank transactions, looking at the net cash flow over the project's life.
So cost is outflow, finance is inflow, and overall balance.
That's a good way to put it. The processes show this. Financial planning identifies all the funding needs capital to start, operational funds, contingency, and forecasts when you'll need cash. The cash flow forecast.
And financial control.
That's making sure the money side works smoothly. Getting funds released from lenders or partners on time, managing bond requirements, paying invoices correctly, handling insurance.
Why is this so vital in construction? You said poor cash management kills projects.
Because construction cash flow is brutal. You pay workers and suppliers constantly, big outflows. But revenue? The payments from the owner often lags by 30, 60, even 90 days.
Plus things like retainage, where the owner holds back a percentage.
Exactly. That gap between spending money and getting paid creates huge working capital needs. If the PM doesn't forecast that gap accurately and manage it, the company can run out of cash. Literally go broke, even if the project looks profitable on paper.
Wow. So financial administration is about meticulously tracking those payment clauses in the contract.
Absolutely critical. Invoicing terms, payment milestones, conditions for reducing retainage or releasing bonds. You have to be on top of it.
Okay. Final specialization. 4. Environmental management. Increasingly important.
Hugely. It's about ensuring the project complies with all environmental laws and regulations, and ideally meets broader sustainability goals. Stakeholders, communities, regulators, they all demand it now.
How does it work in practice?
Starts, like safety, with environmental planning. Identify the relevant standards, local, national, assess the site's existing conditions, sensitive habitats, water resources, and figure out how you'll meet the requirements. Needs to be integrated with all other planning.
Then, during the project?
Environmental assurance. This means having systems in place to give confidence you're actually meeting those standards. Regular audits, checks, implementing protective measures.
And environmental control.
That's the operational monitoring. Checking specific things, dust levels, noise, waste disposal, water runoff. Are we compliant? If not, identify the cause and fix it. Managing recycling programs using silt fences, things like that. It's becoming strategic, sustainable building has real benefits. Hashtag outro, lessons learned in the future management.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from the basic PMBOK framework through the 9 core knowledge areas, and then layering on those 4 critical construction specializations. It really highlights how PMBOK is adaptable, isn't it? It scales.
It really does. The same core principles apply whether you're building a small house or a massive infrastructure project. It provides that essential structure.
And that structure is supporting a changing role for the PM, you think?
Definitely. The PM isn't just a task coordinator anymore. They have to be strategic leaders, blending that technical know-how with sharp financial understanding and, as we discussed, really strong interpersonal skills.
Which is driving new ways of working, like hybrid models.
Yeah, we're seeing more hybrid approaches.
Yeah.
Construction itself is often still linear. Waterfall, you pour the foundation before the walls. Right.
I can't really do that agile.
Not the physical build, no. But the planning, the design phase, stakeholder communication. Those parts benefit hugely from more adaptive, agile-style techniques. Quick feedback loops, more collaborative reviews, using the best of both worlds.
And technology is obviously playing a huge role in this evolution.
Oh, massively. Tools like BIM building information modeling are transforming how we manage scope, detect clashes, coordinate designs, drones for site surveys. And AI is starting to make waves in risk analysis, schedule optimization.
Doing things like that Monte Carlo simulation automatically.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh.
Identifying patterns humans might miss.
Yeah.
So the modern PM needs digital literacy, needs to interpret data. But, and this is key technology supports, it doesn't replace the need for clear human communication and judgment.
Grounding the tech in human interaction. And there's a growing focus on the ethical side, too. Sustainability, responsibility.
Absolutely. Environmental management is one piece, but it's broader now. The market's shifting. It's not just how fast and cheap, but how responsibly. What's the long-term community impact?
The PM really sets the tone for that.
They do. Prioritizing safety, acting with integrity, considering social impact. It's not just nice, it's becoming a business imperative. Builds trust.
So if you had to boil down the wisdom from the field, what's the core lesson beyond the PMBOK structure?
Good question. Document everything, yes. Manage the money tightly, control the changes. But maybe the deepest lesson is trust people more than paper. Build relationships. Because often, a good working relationship solves a dispute faster and better than waving the contract around.
And embracing imperfection.
Definitely. Projects rarely go exactly to plan. The best PMs adapt, keep the momentum going, solve problems creatively, and maintain that trust.
Looking ahead, what are the key pillars for construction management's future?
I'd say 3 I's: integration of data, teams, technology; innovation, finding smarter, faster, safer ways to build; and inclusion, bringing diverse perspectives into leadership and ensuring projects benefit the whole community.
So PMBOK isn't just a rule book. It's the structure that lets you turn that organized chaos of a project into real, measurable progress.
Exactly. It's the framework for managing inevitable change and doing it with confidence, with competence, and with integrity. That's what defines success.
A perfect place to wrap up. Thanks for taking us through this deep dive. Hopefully everyone listening feels a bit more equipped to navigate the complexities of project management.
My pleasure. It's a fascinating and vital field.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down the universal rule book for, well, getting big things done.